Hi everyone, and welcome to another session of Building Blocks. I'm Judy Brown and I'm here from the Little Fabric Garden to walk you through a little project today. I really hope you like it. It was a fun one to do and I've made a bunch of them. So this is the project that I'm hoping to get you through today, and it's a book pillow. And if you look closely, you're going to see that it's got a little pouch that you can put a book or two or three or even more if you want. And if you're traveling with it, it's got a handle that you can carry it. It works really nice if you've got grandchildren, little children. If you want to take it in the car, I know some people get sick when they read in the car, but it's got the pillow, you can sleep and you can have your book there too. So it's a fun project. A couple of years ago, I don't know, I think I made like 6 or 8 of them, and I gave them to the grandkids and things like that. So I think that you're going to like it, and it really is not hard. So to do this project, I'm going to lay this over here. To do this project, you need 3 fat quarters. All right, so I chose this one. Now these two look very Halloween-y, but I thought they really looked good with the other fabric, so that's why I decided to use them. So these are the 3 fat quarters that you are going to use, and that will be for, like this one will be this background fabric. The orange is going to be the accent, the inside of the pocket, and the handles. And the cute little turtles, it's going to be the pocket, and it is also going to be the back. So the 3 fat quarters are for the parts in the front. Then you need a half a yard of fabric for the back. All right, so that's what we're going to do. You also need to get some fusible batting. All right, and I have a half a yard of fusible batting, and it's just like the batting that you would use in a quilt or whatever, but it's got the sticky on the back, and you can feel it feels kind of nubby. And that's the glue that's on it, and that we are going to use that for this section and for the handles and down here also. So this piece of muslin, you're probably wondering, what is that? Well, this is going to be what goes on the back of this, and I'll show you that in a second. So you need a fat quarter or an 18-inch square of the muslin that will go on the back. All right, so that's what you need, and so we are going to get started, and I'm going to show you how you cut it or the sizes that you cut it, and then we will go from there. And another thing that you need, which is a very important thing, after you get the whole thing done, you do need an 18-inch pillow form. Now, I purchased these, and I think I got them at Walmart, really, but you can even use old pillows. If you have one at home that you've kind of stuck in the closet or something that you don't like it anymore, you can just pull the cover off and you can use the pillow. So you don't have to go buy a brand new one. You can use something that you already have, but you do need something inside to puff it up a little. All right, so over here I have the pieces, and they are already cut. I cut them ahead of time so that I wouldn't have to go through all of that. Now the 3 fat quarters are 18 by 21, 22. So each one of these squares, like the square for the pillow, is 18 inches. So you are going to cut that background piece 18 by 18. It's going to be an 18-inch square, and also the muslin is going to be 18 inches square. And these two will be put together, and you'll see that in a few minutes also. All right, so here is the fusible. You are going to need a piece that is 4 by 13. Here's another 18 by 18, and then you're going to need a piece that's 11 by 18, and this piece will be on the pocket for the pillow. All right, so that's the fusible. Then this is the front of the pocket, and this is 18 by 9. So everything is 18 inches wide. all right, except for the handles and stuff. All right, now this piece is 4 by 13. These are the accents. All right, oh, this is going to be the handle, and then this is going to be the accent of the pocket and the lining of the pocket. And this one needs to be 18 by 11. And there are 2 pieces from that half a yard. These 2 pieces are cut at 13 by 18. All right, so that's the cutting, and now we're going to get to the fusing. All right, so here I have my pieces of fusible batting, and I am putting them on top of the pieces. So this 18-inch square is going on that background fabric, which is called, I think it's called the main fabric. And we are going to, you may be able to see that I have some cross-hatch lines on here, and those are the lines that we are going to quilt this on. So this is, I put this on nubby side to the wrong side of this piece, and then eventually this piece of muslin is going to go here. We are sandwiching this so that it is going to be the like the back of the pillow. So it's like sandwiching a quilt, and it definitely is quilted. So that's what this is going to be. Here's the handles, and we want to make them nice and sturdy, so we are going to put fusible batting on that, and so that will go there. And then this is the lining and the accent piece that goes across, and you'll see how that all goes together. So these all need to get the fusible batting on, so I'm going to take them over to the ironing board, and I'm going to get that fused, and then we will get started on our next part of this. So as you can see, I have taken these over to the ironing board, and I have fused the batting on them. And I just did it from the front, and it's really nice, and I've used it for other things also. Put it on the back of some table runners and some things that I've done, but definitely need it on this. And I also wanted to show you that I put the muslin on the back after I got it fused on. Then I put the muslin on the back, and you don't have to put the muslin on. I just don't like the feel of just having the batting on the inside of the pillow. I worry that it will start to come apart, if you wash it. At least this is kind of holding it all together. So that's my reason for doing it. And if you decide you want to make one of these and you don't want to do that, that's fine too. That's just my preference. Okay, and then this was the little piece for the handles. And while I was over there, I decided I might as well do all the other pressing of this, because the handle, after you put the fusible on it, then you fold it in half and press it, and then you open it up and you take the ends and you fold them into the middle like that, and then you will bring it up like this, and later on we will sew this, sew it down. So I'm going to stick a couple of pins in, so that will be ready to do. So I'll get that pinned in there, and we can just set that aside for a little bit later. Okay, so now with this crosshatch that I put on here, and this was done with white chalk, and I used a Choco liner. It's got like a little metal roller thing in there, so you get a nice thin line. And this, if you take a damp cloth afterwards, because when you look at it, you're like, woo, look at all that. I don't like all that chalk. It will wipe off. You can just take a white washcloth and go over top of it, and it will come off. So, but I would definitely use the white one. The color Choco I don't like quite as well as the white. So if you're going to use the Choco, then use that. All right, so I'm going to quilt this now, and when I decide to quilt it, I have to change the stitch, because usually you sew with a 2.0 or 2.5. You need they recommend a wider or a longer stitch. So I'm going to do a 3 for my stitch length. And it's not 3 inches, it's just what they call 3. So I am going to do this, and I am going to get started. And you just quilt it. Well, there we go. And stay on the line the best you can. And you usually start in the middle because then as you're going you can kind of smooth it out so you don't get any big old bumps and stuff in it. All right, and we're going to continue to do that. First we will go in this direction, and then after I get all of those quilted down, then I will turn it and I will go the other direction until it's all quilted. Well, I have finished doing the crosshatch on this, and I don't know if you can see it on this side very well. You probably can't because I use black thread, but I use the black thread on the bobbin too, so you can see it on the back, and it is very sturdy and won't move. While I was doing that, I also decided that I would do the handles, and so I had showed you how I folded them. So I stuck a couple of pins in there, and then I sewed down this side, and then I sewed this way, and it will, keep them together. It will keep the handle together, and it'll eventually look like this. So now our next step, I'm going to slide these guys over here for now, and I am going to take these 2 pieces. So this is going to be the front of the pocket, and this is going to be the accent piece at the top and also the lining. And so what I'm going to do is put them together like this, right sides together, and then I'm going to stick a couple of pins in here because I definitely don't want this to slip on me. And if I don't put them in, I know it's going to, and then I'll be angry because I have to rip, and that's the worst thing for me, is to rip things out. When it comes to that, I'd rather just roll them in a ball and put them in the closet. So I'll put 5 pins in there, and then I am going to sew it 1/4 of an inch this way. And we'll get that set. I'm going to change this. Let's see if this is going to go. All right. So let's see how this is going to work. Snip these sides because I do not like these threads hanging out. One of my pet peeves. I did see some on that. I have to go back and take care of them. All right. So now I'm going to take this over and I'm going to press it, and then I'll show you what I do next. So give me 1 second. Okay, so now I've got it pressed. I pressed it toward the dark, and now what I'm going to do is to take this and I'm going to fold it in half like this. And when I do that, and I will take this over to press this, and I'm going to stick some pins in it, but there you can see that's going to be the accent strip. It turns into the accent strip. So give me a second here, and I'm going to stick some pins in, because after I press this down a little bit, then I am going to stitch in the ditch, and if you remember, that is where the seams come together, where the 2 fabrics come together. I'm going to stitch in the ditch and go all the way across, and that will hold that in place also. So there's that. I'm just going to press that down so it lays a little flatter. All right, and so I'm just going to try and stay in this ditch. Sometimes it's not as easy as it looks. Alrighty. So I have done that. And as you can see, you know, it just makes that accent piece stand out. And now we've got most of our pieces done. We've got our front part together, and it will end up looking like this. So this will be the background, the main fabric, and here we have our little cute little turtles and then our accent piece. So this is what the front of it's going to look like. So now we have to go and get the back section taken care of. And what you do with these is we have two separate pieces, and they're going to go on the back, and we want them to be like an envelope so that you can take this cover off, you can wash it, you can put a different cover on if you want to, however you want. So what we are going to do is to fold this back, and I think I'm going to take it over to the ironing board, and I'm going to fold it back and then fold it again, like fold it 1/4 of an inch, press it, then fold it again, and then stitch it down in place, and do the same thing to the other side. Now, I didn't notice this when I was cutting, but apparently the selvage edge on this one was a little wider than what I had thought, and it was underneath. So I've got this selvage edge on here, but I'm hoping that when I go to sew it all together that it's going to be hidden. I could cut another piece, and I probably should, but I never noticed it until just before we started, and so it was like, okay, maybe I can hide it when I sew around. So that's what I'm going to plan to do. But I'm going to go over to the ironing board, and I'm going to get these things pressed down 1/4 of an inch, and then another 1/4 of an inch, and then sew it on both sides, and then I will be back to show you how it goes. All right, so when I took it over to the ironing board, and this is what I was talking about, I took the edge and I folded it over about 1/4 of an inch. This is probably a little more than 1/4 of an inch, but you know, about that. And then I folded it again and I pressed that down. So now I'm going to sew this, I'm going to top stitch this here so that it will be down and we won't have any raw edges hanging out the back of this book pillow. So I am going to get it in place, and I am going to sew this down. Got that done. And as I was sewing this, I was thinking about when I was younger, and I used to do this top stitching, I used to be able to do it in a nice straight line, and I looked down when I was doing this, and it's like, oh, a little curvy. So could be an age thing, I'm not quite sure. All right, so we have all of our pieces. We have our handle, we have our two pieces for our back envelope, we have our pocket, we have our front. So now we need to put these together. So it's going to go like this, and then I have to get this handle. And how I'm going to do the handle is I am going to measure in 5 inches from either side, and that's where I'm going to pin the handle. So I've got my little ruler here, and I'm just going to lay it here, and this is going to go like this right here, and I'm going to stick a pin in there. And when we pin these, we are pinning this inside, because you want to make sure that it's laying inside this when you sew around. You don't want to get this handle hooked in there somewhere. So you have to be careful on that. So I'm going to come over to this side, and I'm going to measure the 5 inches, and I'm going to bring this like this. And I'm going to pin this also. So I will tell you that as you are sewing, this is going to be the hardest thing, the hardest part to get over, because it is very, very thick. So you may have to give it an extra tug. I'm going to put another pin in this because, as you can see, it's starting to turn, you know, it's starting to get slanted, and I want to make sure they're straight. I don't want the end of this handle to come falling out. Okay. All right, so this is the way it's going to be. And in fact, I do believe, well, I know I am, I'm going to stick another pin right here to make sure it doesn't shift on me while I'm doing all my other stuff here. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to take this one and we're going to lay it here like this on top. And here again is that mess that I didn't. So I'm hoping, I think I'm going to try and do my seam at least that wide to see if I can get that covered. And then this one is going to go on top of it like this. So you can see that here is that side that I stitched here, and it's also here. So these are going to go like that. And now I am going to pin this to hold the whole kit and caboodle together. And it is very thick because you've got the pocket and all the batting that's down here, and then you come up here to this end where, you know, it's not quite so thick in here, but then you end up having to worry about the handles. So you may have to do some tugging as you're sewing to get it over some of those spots. All right, so let me go get some pins on this side. All right, so now I've got it under the needle, and I did do some arranging with where my needle is. I do want it to be more than 1/4 of an inch. 1/2 inch would be good. So I did move the needle over a little bit. Make sure that when you get started on this, you back stitch, because you certainly don't want it to come apart once you've done all this. All right, so here we go. Keep your fingers crossed. So as you can see, I'm kind of making sure that it's going through there smoother. I'm kind of guiding it, and every once in a while just giving it a kind of a little tug, because it is really thick. And some machines can handle that better than others. This one's pretty good doing that, but you do have to see how your machine's going to react to that. Okay, so this is the side. Plug your ears. I'm going to stick another pin in here because I think it might try to open up on me. I'm going to put another one in here to see if I can catch all this. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm getting close to one of those handles. I can feel it coming. That wasn't too bad getting over that one. Here comes the second one. We'll switch hands. So make sure I don't miss anything here. One more side, and we will be done. I'm going to back stitch again at the end. All right, and I will trim this, get rid of these threads, get the pins out. Then I'm going to cross my fingers, make sure I have everything going in the right direction when we open it up. All right, another thing that I'm going to do on the corners, I'm going to trim it so that there's not such bulk there when I go to flip it out. And these are not my good sewing scissors, so it might take me, oh, that's not bad. Oops, there's another pin. Those little buggers hiding on me. I don't want to get too close to that sew there because I don't want to open up that seam. So I'm just going to do it like that at a diagonal. Have all these little triangles flipping all over. Okay, keep your fingers crossed. Let us flip this. All right, get these pins out of there. Oh, I sure hope this works. These out. These pins. And now you can use one of your, like if you have a wooden tool, or if you have one of those purple fangs to get these corners out, and I'm not going to do it really good right now. I just want to show you what it looks like and hope that it's all going in the right direction. I don't have it upside down or something, which could happen. All right, so here is the back. Here's the envelope fold. All right, handles are here, and there it is. And now all you have to do is to stick the pillow in, and you have your book pillow. So this was done with the turtle fabric, and even though this is kind of looking Halloween with the turtle, it makes it look really, really cute. So there's this one, and this is how puffy it gets when you put the 18-inch pillow in it. So try it. I know that the patterns are available at the library. They will be available online and here at the store. So if you're interested, try it. Really, it's not that hard. The hardest part is sewing over here, and the longest part is just quilting this, but it's not hard. So enjoy. Hope you enjoyed the program.